Ekam aksharam hridhi nirantaram bhasate swayam likhyate katham hridaya kuhara madhye kevalam brahmamatram yamahamiti sakshat atmarupena bhati hridivisha manasa chinvatamachyatava pavana chalana rodha atmanishto bhavatvam deham mrinmaya vajadatmakam aham buddhirna tasyastito naham tattadabhava supti samaye siddhatma sadbhavataha oham bhavayutaha kuto varadiya drishtatmanishtatmanaha soham spurti taya arunachala shivaha purno vibhati swayam oham spurti taya arunachala shivaha purno vibhati swayam. Namo Ramana. On this Thursday satsang, we will read two verses from Guru Vacha Kovai, and in between, after reading the first verse, we will do a 10 minutes meditation. Then we will do a manana on the second verse. Again, we will do meditation for another 10 minutes. After that, Dilip will give us the closing comments, followed by Ashtotra by Vaibhav and Prarthana. Today, the verse that have been chosen, first verse is from the investigation into the truth. So, the verse number is 292. The jnana experience of union with Brahman, that which shines as the totality of I and this, that which shines as the totality of I and this, aham and idam, is pure being consciousness, the truth of your real nature. Bear in mind that this alone is everlasting. If you gain an untainted understanding of this through experience, then the true God, Brahma Swarupa, will become your real nature and supreme bliss will surge in abundance. So in this verse, few things are being spoken about. So effectively, whatever we are trying to do, why are we trying to do whatever we are trying to do? Because we seek happiness. So Bhagavan says, that which shines as totality of I and this, aham and idam. That means we have the seer and we have the seeing. So we have the subject and we have the object. So there is a difference, there is a separateness between us and something else. So when there is a difference between subject and object, then what happens? There is ichha. When there is ichha, there is the ego. When there is ego, there is longing for something that is outside. But the great ones say, like Bhagavan says, Hridaya Kuhara Madhye kevalam brahma matram. So the aham is here and now, but we are seeking something outside. So the trick about all this sadhana is to drop this falseness, this falsity that we believe is true, is we have to drop that and come to the aham. So Bhagavan says that if you do self-inquiry, then this aham and idam, that the aham, which is the spurana, that is aham aham iti sakshat atma rupena bhati. So that aham, which is pure consciousness, and idam, which is the currently what it is, the ego, which is the I. The I comes up, the ego comes up, the body goes through the senses, goes into the world of names and forms, and believes that to be true. So actually in this body, as we all understand, there are two realities. There's one reality which is this bag of flesh and bones, and there's another reality which is the self, which is the Atman, which is sitting within. But in between these two, this little phantom, it's not little in any way, but this is this huge I, this ego which comes in between and says, hey, I'm here, I'm here. So what happens? Then we associate with that mind. And this mind has got all the vasanas, has got all the desires, and makes us believe that it is true. But it's actually a phantom. It's nothing true about it. And it takes us always to the external world to say, oh, all these things outside is actually true. So all sadhana is to actually drop this mind. That's why they say self-realization. They don't say that you will get something. It's not that you will get something new. We are all already that. The great one says, Tattvamasi, you are that. And once you realize, you say, Aham Brahmasmi. But what happens is this is not truth for us. Why? Because we are associating with the mind. The mind is taking us always out into these objects, into time and space. We're continuously going out. So Bhagavan says that important thing is to understand is we have to come back. So we are all currently, most of us are bahirmukha. We're all the time going outwards. We are not going inwards where God is sitting. But Bhagavan says that which shines as the totality of I and this, aham and idam, is pure being consciousness, the truth of your real nature. So how do you do it? So in that Eka Shloki, Bhagavan says, Yaham ahamiti sakshat atma rupena bhati. So Bhagavan says that consciousness, that God, that Brahman is actually shining as I within us. So once we go inwards and we quieten this mind by inquiring, by surrender, by doing all the yogas that we can do, karma, bhakti, jnana, raj yoga, whatever we may do japa, we may do meditation, we may do different things. But then finally what happens? We have to come within. From being bahirmukha, we have to become antarmukha. When you become antarmukha, what happens? Then the world, as in deep sleep, what happens in deep sleep? In deep sleep, the world quietens. There's no world. The Venkatesh is not there in deep sleep. Why? Because the mind has quietened. Once the mind has quietened, the world has also quietened. And then we say, we had a beautiful sleep. That consciousness was there. You were also there. That consciousness, which we call aham, was always there. But we don't associate it with that. We associate it with the mind. So Bhagavan says that if you keep doing self-inquiry, this false phantom which is coming out and saying I'm true, it'll go quieter and quieter and quieter. It's like that perfect example of the man who's in the wedding, and there are the boys people think it's from the girls' side, the girls people think it's from the boys' side. He's creating a lot of noise. But when the boys people and girls people come together, what happens to that boy, to that man? He runs away because he realizes, oh, this, I've been located. So exactly the same thing, that if you keep on inquiring who you really are, Every time that the thought rises, if you ask for whom is this thought, this mind will become quiet. Once your mind becomes quiet, then what happens? Then it's like Jagrat Shushupti, the same sleep experience that we have in deep sleep, where you are in consciousness, but your mind is absolutely silent. Nothing is happening. The mind is quiet, so the world is also quiet. So Bhagavan says that that is pure being consciousness, the truth of your real nature. Bear in mind that this alone is everlasting. See, when we are seeking whatever we are seeking, when we are doing this satsang we are seeking the truth. The truth is what? The truth which is always there. We are not seeking something that will be there now and there will not be there later. So we are seeking the satsang. So this is an important aspect that we need to understand. And if you gain an untainted understanding of this through experience, means if you keep doing self-inquiry and understand that you are that Spurana, that aham, that I, then the true God, Brahma Swarupa, will become your real nature. That means right now, what's our nature? Our nature is being a human being. We don't believe we are divine. We believe we are this human being. We're limited, this 6 foot by 2 feet, and we think that this is who I really am. But once you go in and understand that you are that Brahma Swarupa, then what happens? Then the true God, Brahma Swarupa, will become your real nature. So it is like that lower mind. When you have the lower mind of lust, greed, anger, hatred, jealousy, all these things are prevalent in our lives. But then we come on to the higher mind of love, compassion, giving. Then what happens? Once you go there, then all the lower mind drops away automatically. And then what happens? From there onwards, we get to the process of doing self-inquiry. So, like Swami Shivananda says, serve, love, give. When you serve, love, give, you will purify, you'll purify. Antarkarana Shuddhi will keep on happening. And then you will meditate and realize. So, meditation is meditate on the self. Then what happens? Bhagavan says you will become your real nature and supreme bliss will surge in abundance. And you will be in bliss, constant bliss. You will become fearless and free. Why? Because the world is not there for you. Everything is only you. Everything, the world is also that consciousness, that I-ness. If everything is you, then what will you seek? What will you long for? Nothing. You will become, like Bhagavan says, Summa Era. You will go into quietness. And that's what we will do for the next 10 minutes. We will do self-inquiry for the next 10 minutes. I request Revathi to kindly keep the time, please. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. See, which is the next verse which has been chosen. The next verse which has been chosen is chosen from the experience of the truth. Verse number 1040. How can your truth, which shines as the light of consciousness, be known like a fragmented and inert sense object? I'll repeat that again. How can your truth, which shines as the light of consciousness, be known like a fragmented and inert sense object? If you abide peacefully in the self, freed from the false nature, the ego I, your true nature will spontaneously shine forth. So what Bhagavan is saying is where you give reality. See, if we give reality to the world, then the world looks real for us. But what is being said here is, how can your truth, which shines as the light of consciousness, so the light, see, the light of consciousness lights up the mind, which lights up the senses, which lights up the entire world. So what provides the light to the mind is the consciousness. So the consciousness does not need a light of its own to light it. So he's saying that how can your truth, which shines as the light of consciousness, be known like a fragmented and inert sense object? Now, what we think is God is here and God is there. We go to the temple, we go here, there, and think, oh, God is here, God is here. I have some, that is at the gross level. Then we at a subtle level also we have dreams, and we say, oh, some light has come. I had experiences of God. All those are also there. But are those actually God? Is that consciousness? No, because this is all in the space of the mind. And what is driving the mind? The mind is driven by the consciousness. So the important thing is as we all experience, that the world of names and forms has not given any of us happiness, everlasting happiness. And what are we seeking? We are seeking that everlasting happiness. So he says that which shines as the light of consciousness be known like a fragmented and inert sense object. See, all objects are fragmented. Why? Because if you look at the nature of the mind, what is the nature of the mind? It is bahirmukha. It takes you out. What's the second thing it does? It jumps from one object to another object, another object. So it's, Bhagavan says, that is fragmented. And inert sense, inert means it does not have any reality of its own. Who gives it reality? We give it reality. Like if the tree is there outside your window, who is giving it reality? We are giving it reality because we are powering our minds. We are giving energy to that thought. Hey, there's a tree outside your window. And that's why it's giving reality to that. So Bhagavan says that's also inert. It's an inert sense object. If you abide peacefully in the self, now this is the important thing. One is peacefully. Right now it's instead of P-E-A-C-E, many P-I-E-C-E. It's all pieces. It's not full peaceful. Why? Because of our tendencies. Our tendencies are to go outside and seek happiness outside. But what is our true nature? Our true nature is peace, is happiness, which we forget, and then we keep going out. So if you abide peacefully in the self, freed from the false nature, the ego I. So the ego I, that person, that phantom which comes in between the body and the self, if you get free from that false nature. Now, what typically happens is most people try hard. Let me now control my mind. It is not possible to control my mind. It's like that example of an elephant and a mahout. That mahout is like your intellect, and that elephant is like your mind. That elephant will keep going helter-skelter here, there, pulling down trees and eating this fruit, eating that fruit. Whatever knowledge you may have, sitting as the Mahot, which is in your intellect, that mind will run helter-skelter. So what you have to train that mind. If you train that mind, if you train that elephant, what will happen? That elephant will not run here and there. It will stay. It's like the example they gave about the chain on the trunk of the elephant. If you put a chain, what happens? The elephant's trunk stops moving, stops oscillating here and there. So exactly the same thing Bhagavan says, if you abide peacefully in the self, freed from the false nature, means we have to drop the falsity. We have to, when Bhagavan is saying you are that, and the you are that consciousness, you are that that divine being, and stop being a human being. If Bhagavan is saying that, then what happens? We have to be with that. So if you abide peacefully in the self, freed from the false nature, so that if you drop all the falseness, then what happens? The ego, which is the ego, I, the Venkatesh, I, the who's conducting this satsang, who is doing all these things, all, if I drop all that instantly, then what happens? Your true nature will spontaneously shine forth. It means that mind will, if you make your mind your best friend, and if it becomes quiet, then what happens what will emerge? What will emerge is that self. When that self emerges, then you are in peace. When you are in peace, that's why they say Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Means what? You have to be at peace. Peace with yourself. When you are at peace with yourself, what is seen outside is only peace. Because what is the world? The world is nothing but a mirror image of what is within. So if you think that the world is agitated, then we must always remember the agitation is actually within us. It is not outside. The agitation within us is being seen outside as the agitation. This is a very important thing that Bhagavan is trying to say, that we have to be the light of consciousness, be known like a fragmented and inert sense object. So we have to stop seeing God outside. See God within. So when you are in the gross, when you see, go to the temple, what do? I give the example of Tirupati. When you go, you are there in front of God for 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and in that you see God, and then you close your eyes, and that lady catches your hand and she says, Jargandi, Jargandi, out you go. And by the time you open your eyes, God is away from your sight. It's finished. Your darshan is over. Now what happened? This time I saw the face of Tirupati. I didn't see his feet. I wanted to see his feet. So next time or tomorrow I'll go for another darshan and see his feet. This time what happens? A tall person is standing in front of you. You can't see his feet. Again you see his face and come out. So exactly now, where will you see? But when you stand in front of Tirupati, you close your eyes. Why do you close your eyes? Because God is within. God is not without. So once you go from the gross, go to the subtle. It's like when you do pujanam, japa, chintanam kramat. So initially you will do all puja, part, homa, and all those things you will do. But slowly you will start doing japa loudly. Then you start doing japa slowly, quietly. And then japa goes on. And then you keep on doing self-inquiry. Then you realize who you really are. You're going from the gross to the subtle. So that's what Bhagavan is trying to say. If we abide peacefully in the self, the more and more we identify ourselves with the self, then what we will see outside is only the self. Because actually there is only the Aham Spurna, which is all pervading. But only thing is we are not able to see it because of this veiling power of the ego I, which basically covers it and says, no, it's like putting the torch on the rope. Right now we think it's the snake, but once you put the torch on the snake, what happens? You will see the rope, and you realize, that snake was never there at all in the first place. It's exactly the same thing. The self is always there. It's always peaceful inside. It is everything good that you want is within us, but we have not turned our direction from Bahirmukha, we have to go Antarmukha. Once we go in Antarmukha, whenever a thought comes which takes us out, which makes us more Bahirmukha, we have to inquire, for whom is this thought? For me, who am I? When you go to who am I, when you keep on asking that, then that mind will stop going out. It's like that cow which goes outside to the neighbor's house to graze. But once after some time, what happened? It stays. If you give it good food, it'll be here only. It will not go to the neighbor's house. Exactly the same thing. The mind, if you make it your best friend, it'll not go out. It'll just be within, and you will be at peace all the time. And Bhagavan give us all the strength, every moment of our lives, to be always be in the self. Let's do self-inquiry for the next 10 minutes. Revathi, please. Thank you. Namo Ramana. Thank you, Revathi. Now I request Dilip to pass the closing remarks and followed by Ashtotra by Vaibhav and Prarthana. Thank you.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramanacentre Ramana, who is shining as the self in all of us. By his abundant grace, we had the opportunity to contemplate on such a similar connected verse, meditate on its meaning, and then have the experience of that being consciousness through this Atma Vichara sessions. In these two verses, Bhagavan is bringing to us the two perspectives in which we can see things, because the truth is one and it can be seen however which way. Venkateshji started off saying that however which way we want to see, the only purpose that we want to see anything is to experience happiness. That is the only reason. Though the truth is only happiness is there, but our day-to-day experience is, especially in the waking state, is that we see to be far away from the happiness. And therefore, what we are experiencing whenever this mind is in operation is similar to the Hamsa Kshira mixture, the mixture of the milk and the water. And definitely that mixture is not as tasty. And the whole spirituality is trying to say that if you can segregate the water from the milk and have the milk, then there is only happiness. And what is water and what is milk has been brought to us very clearly. The milk is the self, the being consciousness. What is the water? As Venkateshji beautifully put it, it is the names and forms, which is the imaginary thing. On this self, which is the being consciousness, the pure light, when the film of a name is brought, it projects itself in the form. Suppose a film of a being, an elephant is thought about, a name of the elephant is, the name called elephant is thought about, the form appears in front of us mentally. More precisely in today's context, if we have to look, we are the self, and somebody says that you have COVID-19. Suddenly, the entire idea that I am the entire truth, that I am the self, goes to the back burner. Though it is through the same being consciousness that we become aware that a statement saying you have COVID is made, we forego the being consciousness, but hold on to that name and form, that name that you have COVID. And therefore, that appears to be more real, and therefore that creates a lot of happiness, though it was perceived by the being consciousness. So Bhagavan in his first verse beautifully says that all that aham and idam that we perceive is nothing but the being consciousness. If we can only see it that it is only because of being consciousness I am able to see it, and therefore it is a mixture of being consciousness and some words or some forms and some names. And if I can only put my attention to the being consciousness and not to the names and its content, then and there, Bhagavan says that you will be in that Brahma Swarupa and you will experience the true happiness. In the second verse, the same thing is brought over, where Bhagavan says that first you should let go all the names and forms, or let go all the water, become the pure milk, have a taste of it. Have a taste of that pure milk, and from then you will see that anytime you mix with the water, that's when your unhappiness kicks in. And he says that anytime you attend to a thought, give reality to a thought, and instead of giving reality to the being consciousness which enables you to see a thought, to experience a thought, instead of giving reality to that which alone is the being consciousness, instead of attending to that, if you attend it to a thought, then again you will see you are unhappy. Therefore, first go to the being consciousness, have a pure experience of it, get a vivid picture, that then you will see that it is a mixture of this being consciousness and a thought. That is all that we call as the waking or whatever it is. And therefore, Venkatesh ji very beautifully said, if you have a Jagrat Shishupti, you are totally awakened to the being consciousness and totally slept to the entire phenomena of names and forms, then you will experience the self. That is what Bhagavan says. And what happens in that state of self? Because the self is the unchanging being consciousness, unaltering being consciousness, unaffected being consciousness. If somebody says you have COVID, you will know that it is only to the names and form, but it is not to you. And therefore, you become very, very peaceful that you are not the altered being, you are the unaltered being. And therefore, there is never going to be any change in you. And therefore, the Shanti that you are looking for, which never comes by attending to this film which is running, a film of names and forms, is found to be not at all present in the self. And that is the direct path to experience the consciousness, which is our real nature. In these two verses, Bhagavan has beautifully brought home to us the effort of how holding on to the milk is to be done. And if you let go the water, that is all that needs to be done. And Atma Vichara exactly does this. It says that every thought which rises within us has to be inquired to whom is this, and brought the attention back to the being consciousness, and then and there experience the unaltered self. And by continuously experiencing the unaltered self, one sees that this entire phenomena of attending to the Jada, the thoughts, is the only reason why happiness is not experienced. So in this beautiful two verses, Bhagavan has given us the Jagrat Shashupti as put by Venkatesh ji to us. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana.
Namo Ramana. Thank you, Dileepa. Request Vaibhav and Prarthana to kindly chant the Ashtotra, please.
Namo Ramana. Bharat भरद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि। ॐ महासेन महंसेन जाताय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः। ॐ गुरवे नमः। ॐ अखण्ड संविदाकाराय नमः। ॐ महौजसे नमः। ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः। ॐ जगद्धितावताराय नमः। ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः। ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः। ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः। ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः। ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः। ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः। ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः। ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः। ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः। ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः। ॐ तीव्राय नमः। ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः। ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः। ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः। ॐ तपोमयाय नमः। ॐ उदासीनाय नमः। ॐ महायोगिने नमः। ॐ मौत्साहाय नमः। ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः। ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः। ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः। ॐ सवित्रे नमः। ॐ स्थिराय नमः। ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ फुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः। ॐ चन्द्रिकासितः श्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणातिकाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजदशलाकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्य निभाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः। ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयाणवाय नमः। ॐ श्री शोणाचल विद्भूत स्कंदाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ओम सद्दर्शनोपदेश्यै नमः। ओम सद्भक्तवृंद परिवृताय नमः। ओम गणेश मुनिवृंदेन सेवितामृतसरोरुहाय नमः। ओम गीतोपदेश सारादि ग्रंथ संचिन्न संशयाय नमः। ओम वर्णाश्रम मतातीताय नमः। ओम रसज्ञाय नमः। ओम सौम्याय नमः। ओम आत्मवते नमः। ओम सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ओम सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ओम आत्मारामाय नमः। ओम महाभागाय नमः। ओम मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ओम विनताय नमः। ओम विनुताय नमः। ओम वित्राय नमः। ओम मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ओम पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ओम दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ओम मौलेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ओम मृच्छान्तिगरसान्निध्याय नमः। ओम स्मरणाद्बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ओम अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ओम संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ओम शोणादृशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ओम भार्गविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ओम अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ओम नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ओम कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ओम शूभकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ओम गुहाय नमः। ओम दण्डपाणये नमः। ओम कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ओम भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ओम स्कंदाय नमः। ओम देवतमाय नमः। ओम अमर्त्याय नमः। ओम सेनान्ये नमः। ओम पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ओम श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनाम पूजां समर्पयामि। यस्तानोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवश स्तादात्म्यभावं गतः ऋन्निष्ठस्वगतीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनासेकरात् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नमः लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
Namo Ramana, thank you very much. Namo Ramana, everyone. Doctor, your answer is mute, doctor.